Care package inbound.
Hey everybody, it's AJ back again with another monster video. Now, I alluded to covering dragons, and I thought I would approach that rather large and gnarly topic with a monster video on a lesser known dragon cousin. Well, it's well known, but it's not overly used, and that's the Wyvern. Now, Wyverns are just as dangerous in many ways as dragons, in the sense of it's a wilderness encounter which your adventuring party is probably going to want to run from at lower level. Now, they are challenge rating 6, but a Wyvern could easily kill quite a large party of characters because they are air-based predators that prefer to stay in the air, and they're pretty tough. So if you don't have something like a guy with a witch bolt, or somebody with tons and tons of poison crossbows or something like that, the Wyvern is probably going to kill somebody in that party fairly quickly, and that is because of their stinger. Now, I'll get to that in a second. So the basic stats of a Wyvern, they're pretty tough. They've got 110 hit points at a flat rate, armor class of 13, so that's on the high scale. They've got a flying speed of 80 feet, so on the plains or where you don't have a lot of cover, these things, you can't outrun them. They are going to get to you eventually. Even if you're on a horse or something like that, they will outfly a horse, no problem. They have fairly good endurance. And their strength is astronomical. It's about 19 strength, so that's strong enough to tear the arm out of the socket of a weaker character. And it's beyond human strength. That's ogre strength. So they are big beasts, tough beasts. They are aggressive and cunning, but they're not intelligent like dragons. So they've only got an intelligence of 5. But they do have a wisdom of 12, which implies that they learn from their mistakes, they recognise past enemies, and an older Wyvern will have some tricks of its own. Much like birds occasionally learn how to use tools, I see no problem with a Wyvern learning how to pick up a rock and drop it on somebody. No problem. They are also very adept at what they do, which is hunting prey on the ground. So they will, if there's two Wyverns that are working in tandem, such as a mated pair, they will probably corner and corral you into a glade or a clearing, and make sure that you don't get under cover. So every time you go near cover, one of them will land and have that tail sweeping in front of it, trying to herd you over to the other one, and they will corner you and both go at you with their tails at the same time. So the tail, the stinger of a Wyvern is by far its most potent weapon, although the bite and the claws are both pretty savage. It's got a +7 to hit on all its attacks. Its bite does 2d6 plus 4 piercing, and its claws do 2d8 plus 4 slashing. Now it can use its claws as a form of charge attack, as it flies by and claws you. It will claw one target at a time, and it will rake you with that claw as it goes by. It doesn't have to land to do that, nor does it have to land to use its stinger. The stinger has got a 10-foot reach, so it can get you in cave mouths and things like that. I would say that it could probably reach out with its neck as well into a hole or something that it's seen you run into. They are very cat-like, so they will pause and wait at a cave mouth or entrance if they know that you can't go further beyond their reach. If you do go beyond their reach, they will give up and go on to something else, because they've got a high metabolism. They're a flying creature with a very high strength and a high constitution, which means that they've got a metabolism that needs to be fed. They are not technically supernatural beasts. They don't have a breath weapon, so I just imagine that they need to eat food. So they're going to go for the easiest target. So they will go for the halfling, they will go for the wizard, they'll go for anybody who's lagging behind, they'll go for whoever's obviously injured, even if that's the fighter, the big tough fighter. If he's got bandages and blood splattered all over him, they'll go for him first, because they're predators. So this tail, the stinger, as it's described, it will lance its stinger into you and inject a venom into your veins, which dissolves the veins on its way to exploding the heart. It is potent venom. So it hits you with this +7 to attack, reach 10 foot. The hit alone does 2d6 plus 4 piercing damage, straight like a short sword through the guts. And you then have to make a DC 15 Constitution saving throw, or take a flat rate of 24 damage or 7d6 poison damage. That's enough to drop a character pretty quickly. And yeah, it can do that every single round. Every single round it can hit you with that. It's not a recharge attack. It's just loaded with venom. And I see nothing wrong with using, if it doesn't necessarily want to inject you with that stinger venom straight away, it can still use that tail attack as a slashing or punching dagger attack if it just needs to get at you. But it doesn't necessarily want you to die in there. You know, if it wants to like repeatedly slash at you with its 10-foot reach attack, so it'll flush you out, it's not going to need to inject you with a poison every single time because it wants you to get out of there. So yeah, Wyverns can be tamed by very strong opponents, such as Archmages or Warlords, Wizards, that sort of thing. They're the ideal beast mount for a lich or something like that. I mean, you know, the classic literature that the Nazgul were basically undead Wyverns. They do have pretty good senses of sight, but not necessarily smell. Their hearing's probably okay. They are a creature that hunts from the air, so their perception is pretty good. They are aggressive, but they're not necessarily very reckless. They, like a cat, if they're injured or if their prey has gone to ground and they can't see them, if there's no stimulus to keep them there, they will leave. If it's costing them too much effort, their metabolism demands that they go off and find easier prey to hunt. I mean, they can always go and find a gazelle or something. But a horse is a pretty good target, so they may even lure a knight into dismounting and getting out of cover and then just attack his horse and eat the horse instead. They can easily, with their strength, carry off a horse. They are huge. Now, oh, sorry, they are large, but I mean they've got huge strength and a rather large wingspan. I would say, yeah, Wyverns are pretty good for using them in a way that gets the adventure moving along. So if it's right at the start of an adventure, it's probably not the best beast to like have come and attack them in the wilderness straight away. I'd use something like I don't know, more mundane beasties. But if it's getting towards, if you've reached a point in the game where you need things to move along, have a Wyvern show up on the horizon and just give that sense of we need to get out of the open wilderness for your players. Get them hurrying along a little bit. If they're close to the entrance to whatever dungeon or anything that you want them to go into, but they're very hesitant about going in, a Wyvern is a really good motivator. So is a Boulette, but a Wyvern is really good for getting them out of the open and into a dungeon. It's also good for getting them to get to the town gates or something like that, where the town guards and things have got balusters and things like that to ward off Wyvern attacks. So, and also having one of them appear and start crying out, and then its mate appear, if you need to delay things a little bit before you actually get into a deadly confrontation. Yeah, really good for getting the party moving along. So Wyverns are really good motivators, and yeah, and such as maybe you need a lead, right? So you're on the tracking down a warlord or something like that, and it's rumoured that he rides a Wyvern or has some sort of a winged mount, and you see a hunting Wyvern or a hunting Wyvern attacks you, and it's got a saddle attached to it because he's just let it off to go and eat. Really good lead there. So, you know, maybe they've got a certain hunting range or something, and you can track him down by following his Wyvern back. Maybe you injure the Wyvern and let it go, and it goes back home to daddy. So, yeah, very handy beastie, and also wicked in a fight. Whew, wicked.